5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Start. The phenomenon of rising temperatures in the Indian subcontinent has become a pressing concern over recent years. This increase in heat is a multifaceted issue influenced by natural factors as well as human activities, resulting in a complex web of environmental, social, and economic challenges. The warming trend is not isolated, but is part of a larger pattern of global climate change, though the impacts are particularly intense and visible in this region due to its unique geographical and demographic characteristics. One of the primary reasons for the escalating heat is the increase in greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, which trap heat and raise surface temperatures. The burning of fossil fuels for energy, industrial activities, and transportation contributes significantly to this accumulation. In addition to carbon dioxide, other gases such as methane and nitrous oxide, released through agriculture and waste management practices, further exacerbate the situation. The result is a gradual rise in average temperatures, which manifests itself in longer and more severe heat waves, especially during the summer months. The geography of the region also plays a significant role in how heat impacts are felt. Vast stretches of land experience varied climatic conditions, but many areas are prone to extreme heat due to their latitude and topography. Large urban centers, where concrete and asphalt dominate the landscape, tend to experience what is known as the urban heat island effect. This phenomenon causes cities to become significantly warmer than surrounding rural areas because built-up surfaces absorb and retain heat more efficiently. As urban populations grow, this effect intensifies, making city dwellers particularly vulnerable to heat stress. Agriculture, a backbone of the economy and livelihood for many, faces tremendous challenges due to increasing temperatures. Heat affects crop yields by accelerating evapotranspiration, reducing soil moisture, and causing heat stress to plants during critical growing stages. This leads to lower productivity and threatens food security. Farmers often find themselves in a cycle of uncertainty, battling not only with unpredictable weather patterns but also with reduced water availability. The reliance on monsoon rains, which have become more erratic due to changing climate patterns, adds another layer of complexity to agricultural planning. Water scarcity becomes more acute as temperatures rise. Higher heat increases evaporation rates from rivers, lakes, and reservoirs, shrinking water bodies that communities and ecosystems depend on. This scarcity is further aggravated by the growing demand for water in domestic, industrial, and agricultural sectors. As a result, many regions face severe water stress, which has a cascading effect on health, hygiene, and economic activities. The competition over dwindling water resources can also lead to social conflicts, particularly in areas where governance and infrastructure are weak. The health impacts of increasing heat are alarming and wide-ranging. Prolonged exposure to high temperatures leads to heat-related illnesses such as heat exhaustion, heat stroke, and dehydration. Vulnerable populations including the elderly, children, outdoor laborers, and those with pre-existing health conditions are at greater risk. Heat also exacerbates chronic conditions like cardiovascular and respiratory diseases. Furthermore, the burden on healthcare systems intensifies during heat waves, which can lead to increased mortality rates if adequate preventive measures are not in place. The psychological stress of enduring extreme heat, coupled with economic hardships caused by disrupted livelihoods, contributes to an overall decline in well-being. The natural ecosystems of the region are also affected by rising heat levels. Forests and grasslands face stress due to changes in temperature and precipitation patterns. Some species may find their habitats shrinking or becoming inhospitable, leading to shifts in biodiversity and ecosystem services. Increased heat also heightens the risk of wildfires, which can devastate large areas, release significant carbon emissions, and further degrade air quality. The loss of natural green cover impacts not only wildlife but also human communities that rely on forests for resources, livelihoods, and protection from extreme weather events. In response to the increasing heat, governments and communities have begun implementing various adaptation and mitigation strategies. Efforts to reduce greenhouse gas emissions include promoting renewable energy sources such as solar and wind, improving energy efficiency, and encouraging sustainable transportation options. Urban planning initiatives focus on increasing green spaces, enhancing ventilation, and using reflective materials to reduce the urban heat island effect. Water management strategies aim to conserve resources, improve irrigation efficiency, and develop infrastructure for rainwater harvesting and groundwater recharge. At the same time, public awareness campaigns seek to educate people about the dangers of heat stress and the importance of hydration, appropriate clothing, and avoiding outdoor activities during peak heat periods. Emergency response systems are being strengthened to provide timely assistance during heat waves. Health services are preparing to cope with increased demand by training medical personnel and ensuring adequate supplies of essential medicines and cooling centers. However, these measures face several challenges. Rapid urbanization often outpaces the implementation of climate-resilient infrastructure, and socioeconomic disparities limit the ability of vulnerable populations to adapt. Many rural communities lack access to modern technology and resources, making them dependent on traditional methods that may no longer be sufficient in the face of changing climate conditions. Institutional coordination and long-term policy commitment are crucial but sometimes hindered by political and economic constraints. Scientific research continues to play a vital role in understanding the dynamics of heat increase and its impacts. Climate models help predict future scenarios, enabling planners and policymakers to prepare better. Monitoring systems track temperature changes, heat wave occurrences, and their effects on various sectors. This data-driven approach supports targeted interventions and resource allocation. The cultural and social fabric of the region is also evolving in response to the heat. Traditional knowledge and practices, such as seasonal festivals, clothing styles, and architectural designs, often reflect an adaptation to the local climate. However, the rapid pace of warming challenges these age-old customs, necessitating innovation and flexibility. Communities are experimenting with new crops, water-saving techniques, and building materials to cope with the harsher environment. The economic implications of increasing heat are profound. Reduced agricultural productivity affects food prices and rural incomes, while health-related work absences lower overall economic output. Stop.